Hey everyone, it's Microwave Sam. This video will be part 4 in the series. Part 1 I went over setup and tricks. Part 2 I went over navigation bar. Part 3 I went over the carousel slider. And in this part 4 I will go over the full contents, the featurettes, the features, the about page, the portfolio of your website. So taking a look at what we currently have, we have the navigation bar and the carousel slider without the sliders, and it is only one slide that's treated as a full width background. So taking a look at the template that we've been referring to, they use a 3-column header style featurette, and then they place these big featurettes at the bottom. So first thing we'll do is we'll view the page source, we'll copy the marketing featurette section up to here, right click, copy, and we'll paste it in our HTML after carousel. So after pasting that marketing section, we notice that we are missing a div. And the reason I can tell we are missing a div is because whenever you click on a div and there are dots, you know that there's a heading tag somewhere. So there is the header tag with the dots, and there is an ending tag with the dots, and so on, and so on. So if you click on any div, image, section, you'll see the dots under the header and ending tag of whatever section you click. So if we just leave it like that, Control S to save, refresh our web page, we'll see this section where there are 3 columns, but nothing is centered. It's because in carousel.css, in this custom.css, they use a marketing content section to center the marketing section. So we'll just right click copy and we'll paste it within our style.css after the carousel section. Paste, Control S to save, refresh the page, and now we see 3 text centered sections. So with this, I kind of don't like it because if it's a personal website about yourself, then you really don't need these extra sections, because when you have too many of these column-based sections, then you seem really arrogant, kind of. So we'll delete 2 of those sections and leave only 1. So we'll delete 2 of these up to here. Delete. Save. And we'll refresh the page. Now we have a problem. The section is towards the left. It's because these columns are set up in a 12 size manner. So what I mean by that is if we take a quick look to get Bootstrap/CSS and we search for columns, how the column system works is that it scales up to 12 columns. And what I mean by that is if we take a quick look over here, for example, you can have 12 one-size columns or 3 4-size columns, but they have to add up to 12. So what we had previously was we had 3 4-size columns, and then it ended up evenly. So what we need to do to center that middle column is add an empty, let's see if there's something called offset. So in Bootstrap, there is always an offset type of column where all you need to do is leave this class, and it's just treated as an offset class so that you can position things correctly. So for example, if we use it, call-large-offset-4, and we close the div, then when we save, we can see that, let's see if I wrote it correctly, large for div. I thought I wrote it correctly. Oh, I know what I need to do. I need to actually add call-large-4 to make it work. So basically, it's an empty column. Now it's 2. That's incorrect. Let's look carefully what I did here. So they did a call-small offset-2. I probably spelled something wrong or something. Offset. Is it offset? Yeah. That's strange. Well, for now, we can just leave call-large-4 without any contents within the div, and it will be up in the center. So now let's edit this content. For the header, we'll put Microwave Sam, And for the about section, we'll say Microwave Sam is a YouTube tutorial guru. And that's really all I'm going to put. So what we have right now is an about section where it just says Microwave Sam is a YouTube tutorial guru. Now for the picture, we will take the picture with brand-pic.jpg. And so we'll add it over here. Brand-pic.jpg. Save. Refresh the page. Now this circle section doesn't really work well with my logo because microwaves are square, right? And it just doesn't work with a circle. So what we'll do about that is we'll add a class to the image and we'll call it about-pic. And in our styling, after the marketing material, we will add the pound symbol because it's an ID. Yes, an ID. And then we'll add margin, and we will use margin 0 auto. So what margin 0 auto does is it auto centers the width or auto centers the horizontal axis. So if we refresh the page, okay, yes. The reason why we did that is because we're going to take out this class, image circle, and we will put in thumbnail to add the square thumbnail. And it looks like this, and the image is also centered correctly. If we didn't use, if we inspect element, and we shut off this margin auto right here, what would happen is that it would go all to the left. So that's why I added this centering margin to it. So now it looks pretty good, but the button itself I don't really like. So Bootstrap has pretty good buttons, so we'll take a look at the button section right down here. And at the buttons, there are different colors. So what we're using right now is default, which is this white color, which I don't really like. But my favorite color is blue, and it uses this primary, BTN-primary. So we'll use that instead. So we'll find over here, it says default for that white color, and we'll change it to BTN-primary. Afterwards, we'll say over here, YouTube channel, because I have a YouTube channel. I'll delete this part. And we will change the href to youtube.com/user/microwavesam. And we will add a target equals underscore blank. Blank. And what this does with the underscore blank is that if we refresh the page and click on the link, okay, I spelled that wrong. So target blank. Target equals underscore blank. So what should happen is that, oh, okay, it's probably the placement. Oh, I spelled target wrong, no wonder. So save this, refresh, hitting youtube.com opens a new tab instead of changing and redirecting the link. So that's what target equals quote underscore blank, which is really useful in my opinion, because sometimes you want people to stay on your site but to look at your social media for a second. So that's what that does. Now we will go back to the page and the source code, and we'll add these featurettes. So these featurettes have different sections where it contains this left-right switcheroo with each of the huge portfolio sections. But after saving that and refreshing the page, we'll see that there are 3 of these column sections that are added, or 3 sections that are added. But before we worry about that, one thing that I forgot is we just created our about section. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that this about navigation button refers down to this about section. So how we do this is that we add an ID to this div row, and we add the ID about. So what this looks for is, you might have noticed I did pound about. So if you remember correctly, the pound always refers to IDs, and it's looking for the about ID. So I had mentioned in perhaps part 2 where these sections refer to a particular place of the website. So if I hit about, it goes all the way down to the about section. And that's what about does, basically. So let's change the contents of these and then fix it up a little bit. So I'm just going to really quickly add some content. So let's do Microwave Sam tutorials. And this gray part of the website where it says this, it'll blow your mind, I kind of don't like that gray color, and I think it's unnecessary for our purposes, so I'll just erase it. Okay. Microwave Sam. I'm gonna just add a bunch of sentences really quickly, just to kind of get it over with. And I'll delete this span because I don't like that gray color. And finally, I'll add one more part. Let's see, what should I write? And I'll delete the span again. Okay, so that should be good for now. And we'll refresh the page and we see the 3 sections. So what we want to change is, first of all, let's get some images to liven things up. Let's Google images. First, we'll search for, what did I write? Tutorials. Okay, tutorials. We'll take this image. This looks pretty good. Save it. Save it within your image folder. Tutorial.jpg seems good. Programming. Man, all of these are hardcore photos. Magnifying glass in this photo right here. Okay, so I'll just take this photo, save it. Okay, that should be a good name, but I'll lowercase the programming name. And last but not least, I'll take a picture of a PS4. Okay, this should be fine. And I'll put PS4. Okay, so we got our 4 images, and we'll replace the source of these 3 images with the ones that we just got. We can always see. So one thing that you need to delete is this data part, because that was just a placeholder. So we'll delete that data dash part. And we'll put image slash, first of all, it is tutorial.jpg. Delete that data part again. Put in, let's see, image slash programming.png. We'll delete the data dash again. Put in image slash ps4.jpg. Okay, and now refreshing the page will display these images. So these 4 images look okay for now, but what we really want to do is we want to fix this. It's way too close to the left and right side. So to do that, we will add a div container to each side. So I wonder if this will look fine by adding it right here. Nope, it doesn't look good, because it only affects that particular location. So what we will do is we will add a additional class equals container on the outside. So after doing that, we'll copy this div class container to each of the 3 sections. And finally, we'll save, refresh, and everything is centered pretty okay. So what we'll do now is, as it is right now, I guess it works, right? But it's a little bit too much white for my comfort. I personally like sites that kind of change the coloring a little bit, don't you? So what we'll do is we'll change the coloring of these backgrounds so that it livens things up and you'll see like a switch of color. So what we will do is, first of all, we'll surround this whole section right here with an extra div. And we'll add a new class called new background. And then we'll close that div. So the reason I'm doing this is because I want to add dot new dash background, and I want to add a new color. So basically what I want to do is I'll go to this website called colorpicker.com, which is useful for just picking some random assortment of colors. And we will get a good nice color that will look pretty nice. So I'm trying to get some like pretty good blue color. Maybe, yeah, I think this is a pretty vibrant blue color because blue is my favorite color. Background dash color. Don't forget the pound symbol, and then save that. And let's take a look. So as it is, it needs a little bit of some changes. So firstly, the picture is a little bit too big, but the font color is not correct. So what we want to do for the font color is we want to do font color white so that it actually appears within that section. Oh, that didn't work perfectly. So let us see. I added to the PS4 section new background font color. So maybe it's just color. Hopefully this works. So color works. So now the color is white and we have kind of a change over here. Now I want to also add this new background color to this section because I want to kind of switch it from that blue color to white and then the blue color again. And I think this provides something different, right? It provides a different set of colors so that it attracts your eyes a little bit more. So what we do with this, and it looks kind of ugly right now, is because we need to first delete the featurettes. So these featurette dividers, you might see this little line over here. We want to delete that because we don't need it anymore since there's something already differentiating our featurettes. So we'll delete these two. And that should be good. We'll Control S save. So I think I deleted the wrong one because that featurette's still over there. So we're missing this one, right? Okay. So delete this and Control S again, refresh. So now we have something that's moving along pretty well. Now these pictures are too close to the actual sections because now it looks like kind of too crowded a little bit. So what we want to do is we want to add some padding, and padding will provide spacing in between the two ends. So for example, we can add some inline padding, which probably, well, actually, we'll add a class name. We'll say like picture-padding. And so we add it to the tutorial section. We'll add it also, I guess, to each of these sections because we'll add padding to each of these. And for our custom CSS, we'll add some picture-padding and we'll add some padding. Let's see. I guess padding, and we'll do 100 pixels 0. Let's see how that looks. So that did not make any changes. So let's see, picture add padding. So I believe that we need to add this class instead in the div itself. So let's take a look if this takes any changes. It does not. Picture padding. Did I spell anything wrong? Picture dash padding. Picture dash. Oh, I did spell something wrong. So I took 3 D's instead of 2 D's in that last one. So each of them had 3 D's for some reason. I guess I was copying and pasting too fast. So, okay, so we added some padding, and now the images are kind of centered a little bit. But now, this word is like too high up, so that kind of looks poor. And these images, they don't look that great. So, we're going to change this, bring it down a notch to 50 pixels. So first, bring it down 50 pixels, check it again. Okay, so this looks a little bit better, but the image doesn't blend well with the background. So what we will do is we'll add a class here. And one class that's always useful is thumbnail, because it'll add this kind of border to each of these images. So we'll add it to each of these 3 images. So I'll just copy, paste, and then last but not least, so I added it, right here. You add it right here. Oops. Save. And we'll refresh the page. And now we have the thumbnail. So, okay. Now it looks bad because this is what I mean by padding. Padding enlarges the image size. It does not like create spacing, but actually enlarges. So what we need to do instead of padding is we'll use margin. This is a good demonstration of the difference between margin and padding. So if we do margin, then the spacing is actually created. So that looks much better from before, but the coloring is a little bit off, but we'll fix that in a little bit. So what we want to do now is we want to fix the spacing over here, and we want to really center it towards about bottom. So what we want to do is we'll add a class to the column itself, or at least, let's say what we can do here. We'll add a class here, and we'll say that, I wonder if this actually works. Let's say margin center. And we'll copy this new class to each of the 3 classes. Let's find right here. And we will try to add margin dash center. And we'll do margin colon auto. Well, top and bottom. And then we'll do 0. Okay, so that did not take effect to the page because the column itself will not take effect. So what we need to do is we actually need to take this class, put a div between these 2, margin center, so that we can only center the text. Because what happens with the column itself is that it doesn't really apply to the rules with so when we try to change the column to add the margin center, then it doesn't really apply to the column itself. So we'll add it before, right before the paragraphs. And I think I'm missing something. Oh yeah, a quote. So I accidentally deleted that section. So let me just delete that. Put the ending tag. Okay, that's good so far. And last but not least, we will do it for this section. So just paste a div, and hopefully it is centered, but it is not. So let's take a look over here. We'll inspect the size. Margin top, bottom, featurette heading. So it's not bringing down for some reason. And let's just see. The div is applied to the actual words. So I guess the column itself isn't being seen margin auto. So what do we do when we do margin top? 10 pixels. Let's see what happens right here. So it does not apply as well. So there's a problem right there where maybe I spelled something wrong. Margin dash center. Nope. Class. Yeah, everything seems to be in tip-top shape. So I guess what's happening right now is that since I have the columns, basically what's driving this column down is this second images column. So what happens over here cannot move down apparently. So I guess the best way to do this is that let's try doing this. Okay. That's a start. So we will do margin colon auto 0. It brought it a little bit up, which is kind of strange. So let us just do a 200 pixel. Oh, I see what's happening. Okay, so what we want to do So each of the sections has, so the section itself goes 200 top and bottom. So basically, we'll have to, for now, we'll just do something like top 100 pixels, and it brings it down a little bit. Okay, that looks much better than before. So we'll just do a standard like 150, maybe, perhaps. No, that's too much. 120. So right now, what I did was I changed the margin center to bring it with the microwave sand plate, the actual header, so that that section will bring down the description section. So we'll just copy that, and we'll paste, delete this extra div. Sometimes when you're doing CSS, it's just a lot of trial and error, and I don't want to hide that with you and have everything memorized, because I think too many times tutorial gurus just make it seem like they know completely everything, and it's usually in the case that even though you have like a lot of knowledge about a certain area, you still need to look over things. So now that everything is brought down, it looks a little bit better, but I think the color needs a little bit work. The color just doesn't fit completely with what this color is. So it's a little combination of maybe like something like this, maybe. So I'll change that color a little bit to find something that actually works well, because that, like, the color scheme is really hard to decide of what works well. Okay, so that looks much better, but I think, yeah, well, that's a good start, I think, right? The images could use a little work, and that's a good start for now. So now you have like information about yourself, and the thumbnails are okay for now. I guess the color could be a little bit better, like a grayish color perhaps. Yeah, I think even though blue is my favorite color, it's like a combination, so perhaps a gray would look better. So let me just go over here, add this new color. Gray kind of looks better. It's hard to decide. It's a lot of trial and error, so I'll just end it off with this kind of dark gray. And I think that'll be good enough for now. Take a look at the website. Okay, this dark gray will have to do for now. So now we have some transition between each section. And last but not least, we want to make sure that we add this section as the portfolio section. So we will add an ID equals portfolio. So that's when we actually refresh the page and we hit the portfolio button, it brings us down here. So you can see 3 information about yourself. You can add buttons and whatnot, but I didn't bother doing that. And you have something that looks like an okay, decent website. Maybe this gray color wasn't the best idea, but hey, it's all about the trial and error. Yeah. So thanks for watching, everyone. One more time with the color, and I think I'll be satisfied. Sometimes you can spend days, and design is always a sensitive thing. So I think this color works great. Yes, finally got a color that kind of fits with this header image. So now, the last thing we'll do is we'll do the footer in the next tutorial and also deploy our personal website. So thanks for watching, everyone. This video in particular has been a lot of trial error checking, because margins and padding is a really sensitive thing, and sometimes it is a lot about trial and error. So I didn't want to hide that from you. Thanks for watching, everyone. Stay tuned for the last tutorial of this series.